Welcome back to The Right Gun. If you're new to my channel, please like, subscribe, and share. Help me grow this channel and the community. Well, life has been happening, and I haven't had a chance to shoot many videos lately, so it is Sunday evening. We're out at the range. There's only 2 other derelicts out here besides me, so we're going to have a bunch of content that I'm going to film tonight. But this video is going to be pretty awesome, I think. We're shooting the CZ P09 Nocturne with the Holosun 507K on here. Just picked this up. We're also going to do a comparison of this to the P07Ω and to the P01Ω. So we'll do a little bit of side-by-sides. So now you might have seen my standard review where I was at 88, the indoor range, shooting this thing without the optic. Got the optic on it, and we're going to see how she runs outside. Started with full mag, 15 rounds, 124 grain, CCI Blazer. Also start with that double action trigger pull. All right, so we're loaded up with some Hornady Critical Defense 115 grain. We're going to see how this runs. Now, since these things are expensive, I have a full magazine. The first 5 rounds are the Critical Defense. The 10 rounds below it are just the regular 124 grain that we've been shooting. But I do this just to train to see if the first 5 will cycle with the tension in the magazine of a full magazine. So if anybody doesn't like that in the comments, let me know. I'm sure you will. But that's what I do, just to train to save a little bit of money when I'm just testing out the ammo before it goes to be an EDC. I do run several full magazines through it, but this is just to save money on this. So again, the bottom 10 rounds to put the tension in the magazine are the training rounds. The top 5, the first 5 that I will shoot, are the Hornady Critical Defense. All right, here we go. We're going to do a quick tabletop. We got the P09 Nocturne right here and the P07Ω right here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the magazines. Supposedly they run the same. Don't know. Not going to try it. You have this little texturized lip right here on the Nocturne. You have just a flat face here on the P07. As you can see, the bottom of the mag well here, it's just a flat cut with one bevel. Here you got a couple of notches, and that's where the flush fit magazine sits in like that. And so that's one of the telltale signs that this is for the P09 Nocturne. Now again, magazine, man, that comes right out really nice. So perfect. P07, again, same thing, no issues there. Now, one of the things that I was hearing on a couple of the other videos that I watched, because I wanted to give you guys something different, was these guys, I don't know, they just kept calling themselves half-ass or something. They kept saying that the controls are oversized on the P09, and they liked that. I have no problem with oversized controls. I don't know if they're that oversized. They kept saying they were larger, I believe, than on the P07. I don't think they really are. Now, they're a different style, definitely, but you know, they're really not any different. I think the ergonomics are a tad bit better on the decocker, because instead of sort of stepped serrations here, you have a more pronounced ledge, and then you have kind of the inverse step serrations here to get more purchase if you want to let that go forward. Now I'm sure everybody's going to yell at me for doing that as well, so decock that. Whereas here you just have a couple of line serrations. Again, nothing that's crazy or different, just a little bit of the aesthetics of the controls. But again, the controls, if you watch that other video, again, the controls, they're not any different size. They're also ambidextrous as well, so you got the decocking over here and the decocking mechanism over here. Aesthetics of the gun, I'm gonna have to go with the Nocturne. It's a little nicer. It's just a little bit more updated. You got more aggressive texturing here. This was pretty good as well, so I can't complain about any of that. Some people will talk about the stippling. That was right here. This is smooth here. You got stippling here. So again, kind of advantage Nocturne from that respect. Now there's one thing that I am going to do, and this caused me concern with the P07 while I had it. So one day I was firing it at the range. I was doing some, so I would fire, obviously the hammer would be in the single action position. I would decock it, and then I would fire again. Well, one day I got, and it just happened one time, but it freaked me out. I got a dead trigger, and I had to rack the slide. That seemed to reset anything, but I couldn't recreate that malfunction. I don't know what it was. But ever since then, I noticed something. So if you start from the single action, hammer back, you decock it, and then you pull the trigger, you will hear a little click of the internals, I think, falling into place here. I don't know if you could hear that. We'll try it again. So hammer back, we're going to decock it, and then pull the trigger, and you'll hear a little, barely audible click. I don't know what that is. Nobody's been able to explain that to me. That has kind of freaked me out, and I noticed that after I got the dead trigger. I don't know what the dead trigger was. I don't know what caused it. Never been able to recreate it. Now, when I got the Nocturne, when I was handling it at the gun store, the first thing I did was rack the slide, ensured that the hammer was back, decocked it, and pulled the trigger to hear if it had the telltale click of the internal setting in here. And it does. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. If somebody out there in YouTube land can tell me what it is, that would be awesome, because it does not happen on the P01Ω. So again, and the hammer doesn't even have to be forward. We can start it like this, pull the hammer back, decock, and then, and there it is. Just in fairness, no magazine, no round in the chamber. So hammer is back. This is the P01Ω. Decock it. Pull the trigger. There is no audible click. We'll do it one more time. Trigger is back. Decock it. There is no audible click. So I don't know what that click is. I just wanted to bring that to people's attention because, again, it did kind of freak me out a little bit. So we'll get everything centered again. And since we brought the P01Ω, here we are. So advantages. Aesthetics. Just because. There you are. Advantages. Aesthetics and optics cut. P09 Nocturne. They're both pretty chunky. Dimensions relatively the same, and the weight, just feeling it, they are kind of top heavy like CZs tend to be, but I'm gonna have to go with this. You got the slide serrations, you got the optics cut, the trigger mechanism is a little bit better. Now, one downside is this damn lanyard loop. It sucks, but it is connected to, I believe that is the hammer bar or hammer strut in there. So aesthetics, optics cut, just looking a little bit cooler because it's newer. Going with the Nocturne. We're going to get a holster that works with this, and we're going to start carrying it. Again, I like the single action, double action polymer, and just a little bit, you know, call me crazy, but do get a little nervous anytime I sit down in the car with my Glock. I don't know why people say that's because you don't train with it. Well, that's not true, but you know, a loaded gun pointed at your junk, never fun. This, at least, you know, you have some visual and physical indicator of if you are reholstering and putting stress on the trigger. So you can reholster with your thumb right there. This goes into the last point that I will make about the CZ single action, double action polymer series of pistols. If you are a new or first time gun buyer and the quote unquote no safeties on a Glock and absolutely no safeties on a SIG P320 rub you the wrong way, but you do want a polymer based platform, I think this is a very, very good option for those people because you get the visual indicator of the single action, double action. You get to train with the trigger pull and understanding what a single action, double action trigger pull is, holding that very steady. So I think there are some benefits to this. Again, it's 15 rounds. It is very, very comparable to the size of a Glock 19, but if you're watching this channel, you probably know that anyways. So we're gonna shoot some more rounds downrange with this, then we're gonna put some rounds through the P07, and then we're gonna do the P01. Now, the P01, same thing. It's not polymer framed, it's obviously aluminum metal framed. All of the same ergonomics, aesthetics. Does not have the optics cut. You can send it to Cajun Gunworks to get an optics cut on there, but the slide is a little skinnier. So advantage for carrying to the P01Ω. Same rounds, 15 rounds. Again, no optics, but the trigger system, fantastic. I think you can get rounds on target just as quickly. Again, because of the metal frame, that's going to reduce or absorb or lessen, excuse me, some of that felt recoil impulse. But we're going to shoot them all three side by side. We're going to run 10 rounds. We're going to do the P09, P07, then the P01. We're going to count down that way. CZ P09 Nocturne, 10 rounds, Blazer 124 grain. What the shit? All right, this didn't happen before. All right, that seems to be, I'm gonna try that again. So it seems as if when I push down on the slide stop lever, it feeds cleanly. If I rack it by hand, and there's only 10 rounds in here, so the tension on the slide is not, or the tension on the rounds here to unseat and enter the feed ramp is not that great. So let's try that again. All right, that worked that time. Maybe that was me. Wanted to get that on camera because I wanted to be honest with you guys on this. So starting from the double action long pull. Now the P07, again, this is the Omega version. What I'm going to be looking for running this will be how it compares recoil-wise to the P09 Nocturne. I'm not expecting much of a difference, but we're going to see. We'll see if there's any more or less flip on here. So we'll do the same thing. We'll rack it. All right, we're good. Start from the long trigger pull. Really no difference felt in the recoil here. So yeah, again, all pretty much the same size. This one may look a little thinner because of the cuts, but still pretty chunky. P01. Again, given my druthers, I like this one. You just can't put an optic on it. And when you get old or older, 50, I'll be 51 here in a few days. You know, it's nice to have that optic. You know, hands down the shooting experience, I have to give it to the P01. It's just, it's a solid gun. It feels very, very good in the hands. The cut, the milling, the angles, very nice, very pleasant in the hands. It's just a good all-around workhorse type of gun. Now, these grips are aftermarket. These are lock textured grips. I like how they are very, very thin. The other grips, and I did a video on this, I swapped them out. They were rubber and they kind of had a palm swell. Not my thing. I believe this is called chainmail grip. Really like it. Insofar as the P01Ω and the P09 Nocturne, again, dimension-wise, pretty good, pretty comparable. I think the slide is just a tad bit thinner here. They're all quality guns. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. Again, I think the first time and new gun owner, if they are worried about, again, that quote unquote, Glocks don't have a safety, and I'm just picking on Glock because I love Glock. Everybody knows that I'm a Glock guy. Love Glocks. I think they're awesome. But this, again, could be an option specifically because of the decocking mechanism and the fact that you can see if you're doing something while holstering, you're pushing that trigger, you can feel the hammer going into your finger. So CZ is known, CZ is trusted, plenty of military and law enforcement contracts. So these guys are not fly-by-night by any stretch of the imagination. All right, let's talk about the optic. I'm gonna make sure this thing is safe and clear. No magazine, no rounds. So this is the Holosun 507K. As you can see, it's mounted on there flush, no adapter plate. I think it works on here pretty well. And full disclosure, I used the PSA dagger screws that came with the PSA micro dagger and this optic. They seem to work. This does mount directly to the slide. There are notches in the slide to hold this thing in place. Would like to see a little bit more of the screw come down, but the Holosun screws wouldn't work. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what size they are. I just to save time, Holosun screws wouldn't work. The ones that came from PSA did. This is what was on my dagger micro. Pop that right out, pop that on, easy peasy. There are some notches in here to hold this in place, and since it's direct mounted to the slide, I don't think we'll have any shearing issues, but only time will tell in that regard. Pretty happy with this, slapped it on, the zero was pretty good. I do want to make some adjustments, but I don't have the tool right now. But as you could hear, we were hitting the target pretty well. We're at about 10 yards out. So we will get some fine-tuned zeroing with this. Let's go and compare this to the CZ. All right, now let's go and compare this to the PZ. All right, now let's go compare this to the CZ P07Ω. All right, talking about the optics. This is direct milled on here, no adapter plate. So this again is the Holosun 507K. 407Ks will work on here. You can also put, I believe it's the RMSC pattern, so the EPS and the EPS carry should work on here as well. You can see the 507K. It is nice and snug on there. There is no overhang. Let you get a visual of what it looks like. Some gun tubers have had problems with failure to feed, failure to extract, failure to eject with the Holosun, or excuse me, with an optic mounted on here. I used the PSA dagger, the PSA micro dagger screws that came with my micro dagger and this optic on here. I am not having any problems. I would like to see just a little bit more of the screw head being able to come down and mount into the plate here, or excuse me, I would like to see a little bit more of the screws come down into the slide, but again, I don't know if that's really necessary. There are some grooves and notches up here to hold this thing in place, and since it's direct mounted, I don't think we'll have any shearing issues of the screws at least. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share.